What?
Well, hello, everybody out there. So he said, she said, back at you. I'm Shane.
I'm Alana.
That's Alana. And you might hear our dogs barking. It was last time they just had at it with us. We got one under the table whining because we're talking to you now. They're not getting all the attention. Speaking of attention, apparently the last time we talked, a little bit of controversy going on. We have an anonymous that sent us a message, and we want to read that to you, and we're going to respond back to it. Alana, you want to take it away?
So this person said there's another demographic of people that seems to be falling through the cracks. Should we start, first of all, if you haven't seen the last episode, we were talking about the child tax credit that was coming early than when you would file your taxes in 2022 for the 2021 tax year. And so this person had responded that there's another demographic of people that seem to be falling through the cracks. There are people that have worked the entire time during the pandemic, veterans, those on disability and Social Security, that make just a smidge over the income limits to get help with anything such as food, rent, electricity, and other things. Those that work, the employees have not raised their wages, but yet the cost of living has gone up. The current food prices continue to rise, and so does gas and everything else. Those same employers have raised the starting rate for new hires coming in, plus a lot of those people are getting help. So the people that have worked all along are getting shafted in some ways. Not everyone is sitting home collecting money and waiting for handouts. Some have worked all along and are just now struggling because of continuing increased cost of living, even though they are budget savvy.
Well, definitely sounds like somebody's a little bit bitter at the people who are sitting at home and looking out for those little guys that are at work. I think one of the biggest things for me that really stood out was the veterans, and I just don't believe that our country as a whole does enough for our vets. Doesn't matter who you are, going into the service, what branch of service that you went in. My freedom, your freedom, is because of those people. That we're able to do things like this and talk freely, and I think our society, we just take that for granted, and definitely we do not do enough for our vets. I was talking to a vet just this week, and hunt license are out in Pennsylvania here, and we're sending off for doe tags, and I was having a conversation about what county I'm putting in for, and the gentleman I was talking to said, I'm a vet and I have to pay for it, and I said, you have to pay for it? You should have to pay for that there. I thought vet licenses were free in Pennsylvania. And he said, no. He said, we just get the regular license, and anything added on that we have to pay for. That just really tore me apart. I just thought, what a shame at Pennsylvania and any other state that does that to our vets. And that's just a little thing. That's just a little tiny thing that I'm bringing up. But all those little things add up to something much bigger. And we definitely, could do much better for our veterans. And, God bless all yins out there that are vets. Anybody serving in the military now, the past, the present, and definitely the future. We really appreciate you, and thank you for your service to our country. But Alana, what do you think?
Well, I definitely see this perspective, and I think there's a couple of points to pull out from that perspective. So absolutely right. There are people who have been working the entire time through the pandemic. People that we considered essential employees include your grocery store workers, your people working in pretty much any retail or food setting where they have continued to bust their butts and they're not getting wages that really, those types of jobs do not pay very well. So yes, there are people that fit in this demographic where the cost of living is going up and they have continued to work and they do need a little bit of help. And if we're really referring back to the child tax credit, yes, that tax credit will help them right now. Because when you think about it, you only get it because you have children.
Right.
And if you are just scraping by, and maybe you're even somebody whose hours got cut because maybe the place that you worked didn't have enough work during the pandemic, so you still had a job, but you just didn't have the hours that you normally have. Yes, I agree, like those people, they do need that money, but then I still come back to the point where, what about when you depended on that for your tax return? I mean, it all evens itself out, whether you get, so
You
they
get
still
it earlier, get it later.
you get it earlier, you get it later, it's still, so do you need it? If you need it now, more than happy, okay, that's great, it works for you, but were you depending on your tax return to do things that if you normally get a tax return, you wouldn't have that? Is that going to affect you during that season as well? So I'm not sure how to address that topic or where to go with that, but I definitely see those people. Yes, our cost of living has gone up significantly within the past year, and there's one major reason for that, and that's the administration that we put into the office. We had 4 great years of low gas prices, which low gas prices are driving down the prices of things being shipped across the country and being put into our stores and our supermarkets, and so therefore things go down a little bit and people spend more money, and therefore the economy booms. And we did experience that. We experienced an economy that was relatively good.
Yes.
And then over the past year, we have our administration combined with the pandemic, and we're trying to help people, and I don't see a balance happening. So the cost of goods and the prices of things are rising, and regardless of who you are, you're being affected by it. So if you are in that demographic where you were just getting by to begin with, and now the cost of living has gone up, you're struggling even more now. Paycheck to paycheck becomes even tighter. And for the people that live maybe middle class, I would say we fall into the middle class. Our expendable income is not as great.
I have class. I don't know about you. Go ahead.
He has class because he married me. But anyway, our expendable income is decreasing as well, which that means we don't go out and we don't spend as much, and our economy doesn't boom as much. So there's a lot of factors that are coming into this particular comment. To unpack it all, you could sit here for hours.
Right. And, one of the things we don't want to do is concentrate on this one subject over and over and over again and beat it with a dead horse. There's a lot of good subjects out there.
I need a drink.
Well, there goes my drink. And maybe we'll talk about that, the backwash in there. We'll debate that sometime.
He's not okay with backwash, but I can kiss him, and he's okay with that.
The 2 things I want to wrap up with. The old Democrats that used to be in office, maybe a few of them still lingering in their 80s and 90s. I do believe that they had a good sense of urgency and the right priorities when it came to creating the programs for the people that needed it. Definitely have to give a hands up for the Dems for doing their job there. Of course, it's out of control now. The other subject. Last thing I want to bring up: some of those people are struggling simply because the other people still refuse to get off their butts and go out and get a job. There are restaurants and places that in our community that
Everywhere. Hiring.
Well, they're hiring, but what I was going to say is they close down. They shut down. They don't have the staff to be able to stay open. When you don't have the staff to be able to stay open, your workers don't make the hours. Their hours get cut. Their pay gets cut. Their tips get cut. That's just wrong. I mean, they're hard workers and wonderful people in our community. And man, I just hate to see that. We've done what we could. I mean, we're not an eat out type of person, and my wife cooks wonderful meals, but we did a lot of going out and
local.
yeah, and try to support those little stores that were open, the little snack shops and things like that there, mom and pops around the area as best we could. You know, hopefully the rest of the community was doing the same thing. I know 2 of the restaurants we went to here over the past month were closed because they just couldn't make it. You know, nobody coming into work and they couldn't keep the doors open. So, but
yes, but yet we have somebody making billions of dollars whose company that pays $0 in taxes and actually gets a tax return of $129 million or something like that we can shoot up into this space for 10 minutes and come back down and think that's worthwhile. Let's think about how we're spending our money here.
I'd buy a yacht. I don't know, maybe a nice bass boat.
Do you even know what happened?
Yeah, it went up for 11 minutes. Didn't it take 11 minutes for him from takeoff to landing?
Okay.
We'll talk about this another time. That's it for now. Don't forget to go down there and hit the like button. See you next time. He said, she said.